I thought Republicans were about limited government, smaller government, less government intrusion, less regulations and rules. So why is Florida making a big deal about a teacher who used a kid's nickname without parental consent? That's something that we need to have a hearing about your job on? That's something that you get fined for? Ex-Brevard County teacher allowed to continue teaching despite nickname complaint. Melissa Calhoun appeared before a State of Florida Education Practices Commission last week, where the commission upheld a settlement allowing her to continue teaching during a one-year probation despite a name use violation. The settlement terms include a one-year probation during which Calhoun is allowed to teach, a letter of reprimand, a $750 fine, and an ethics course. During the hearing, current Florida Education Commissioner Anastasio Comatas, I know I said that wrong, expressed a desire to back out of the agreement. Calhoun's attorney, Mark Walensky, argued against this move, stating, "I am not certain how lawyers can enter into binding agreements, binding contracts, and then say, yeah, but we really don't want to be bound by it." Walensky emphasized that Calhoun has always been permitted to teach while on probation and argued that she should not have been dismissed initially. Charlotte Wins, a commission member, and veteran educator, warned of a slippery slope if a parent's complaint about a teacher calling a student by a nickname leads to such disciplinary actions. Commission members acknowledged the importance of addressing parents' concerns, but ultimately concluded that Calhoun's punishment was sufficient. Calhoun is highly regarded by parents, faculty, and staff as a teacher who goes above and beyond for her students. Calhoun, in April of this year, was told her contract with the district would not be renewed. The district released the following statement. Brevard Public Schools was made aware that a teacher at Satellite High School had been referring to a student by a name other than their legal name without parental permission when the parent reached out to us. This directly violates state law and the district's standard process for written parental consent. BPS supports parents' rights to be the primary decision makers in their children's lives, and Florida law affirms their right to be informed. After the accusation was made, the district conducted a detailed investigation. Based on the teacher's own admission that she knowingly did not comply with state statute, she received a letter of reprimand. Teachers, like all employees, are expected to follow the law. The teacher is working under a 10-month contract that expires in May of 2025. Since the state will be reviewing her teacher certificate, based on these actions, the district decided not to renew the annual contract until the issue was resolved with the state. At BPS, our focus is on education. Teachers are here to teach and support students academically. Our job is to work in partnership with parents and guardians to ensure student success. The superintendent of Brevard Public Schools released the following statement on Tuesday. The Florida Department of Education has issued a formal reprimand and placed a former Brevard Public School teacher, Melissa Calhoun, on a one-year probation for knowingly and repeatedly violating state law by referring to a student by a name that did not match their biological gender without parental consent. As superintendent, I want to reaffirm our district's unwavering commitment to parental rights. Teachers hold a powerful position of influence, and that influence must never override the rights of parents to be involved in critical decisions affecting their children. This was not a mistake. This was a conscious and deliberate decision to engage in gender affirmation without parental knowledge. We notify parents when students are absent or struggling with classwork. It is unacceptable to withhold information on matters of such personal significance. This was not a case of confusion or lack of training. Statute 1000.071 directed by the State Board of Education to adopt rules to implement the statute 6A-1.0955 is an administrative law that school districts are required to follow. Mrs. Calhoun has acknowledged that her actions were intentional and that she was aware of the law and violated it. This is deeply troubling. While the state has chosen to allow this individual to retain their certification under probation, I believe it is appropriate that the full term of the probation be completed before any consideration of employment. Our district will always prioritize the law, the trust of our families, and the rights of parents. So let's talk about this. You know what this is about, right? Somebody doesn't identify with the gender that they've been assigned at birth. And so this is a case of, and I'm just using two names. These are not the names. This is a case of Jimmy identifying as a woman, let's say, and wanting to be called Jamie, or Jamie identifying as a man and wanting to be called Jimmy, and the parents not liking it, but the teacher calling the child by what the child wants to be called. Now, the law states that you cannot call a child any name other than the name they were legally given without parental consent. So the unintended consequences of this is as follows. We know what this is about, right? This is about bigotry. This is about phobias that people have about people that are different, and it's about scumbag Republicans who say that they're for limited government, wanting to expand governmental control of what you can say, what you can do, this, that, the other. Oh, excuse me, sorry about that. But the unintended consequence of this law would be as follows. Every teacher that ever calls somebody like me, my name is Tommy, Tommy, but I go by Tom. I don't give a shit if people call me Tommy or Tommy Boy or whatever the case may be, but I go by Tom. Every time a teacher would refer to me as Tom in class, they would be breaking Florida law. Every time a teacher in a Florida classroom refers to a Stephen as a Steve, a Robert as a Bob, a William as a Bill, they're breaking Florida law. Every fucking time. If you refer to Rebecca as Becca, you're breaking the law. If you refer to a Lillian as Lil, you're breaking the law. I thought Republicans were for limited government. It's really not the case, is it?